All right, we're recording. So I'm Adam Atkinson, and this is Casey Samsel, and this is the Wine Now, Sweat Later cast.
Except I missed the memo.
Where are you drinking today? Some Kettle One cucumber mint. That sounds good.
It's delightful. Just a little. It's Tuesday. It's good.
And I have boxed wine in this really cute flamingo.
I do love that glass. Thank you for bringing it.
Yes, I figured why not? I've got the light blue shirt on today, and
I like it.
a nice day out. So
It is. It really is. I was able to get outside to train today, so that's pretty awesome.
how's your week going so far? Anything new or exciting for the team?
Nope, just kind of hanging tight. We've got somebody on stage this weekend. Her name's Alex, and then she's going to head to Nationals in Chicago the following weekend, and we're feeling really good. It's her best prep that she's ever had, so completely different body shape. We love that when wherever the clients come from or wherever their journey has brought them from, it's nice to see them actually take that evolution. You know what I mean? And just be on a different path and be able to actually visually see the changes that they've made.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure you know the feeling too. Sometimes you can see it in like 4 weeks,
You really can. We're spread out. So we have a pro in Miami competing, and then we have a few girls in California competing, and then Michigan, and then Florida. So a different part of Florida. So there's just a lot going on. And then
a pro this weekend too, right? You said?
Yep. Yeah,
cool.
She's actually doing fitness. She usually does figure, but we wanted to kind of throw her in because fitness was her original roots. So,
quick question: is it the one with the candy?
Oh no,
it's AJ.
But she competed in Chicago last year, and I kid you not, I still watch her routine like probably once every 3 months. I just pull it up because it was so cute.
It's so fun. I just gravitated towards that whole routine the whole time. I was out in the audience It was fun.
Did you see the girl who did the kind of like Marilyn Manson, like heavy metal one? That one was really cool too.
Yeah, well, and it's cool because you get to see their personalities on stage too. That's the cool thing about fitness. My friend Ann Adams, she's Team Chiseled, another great coach, and obviously he's a great fiance to her too. She just got her pro card in Charleston a couple weeks ago, and then is literally jumping right into her first pro show in Miami for fitness this weekend too.
That's so cool.
Yeah, so best wishes to both of them because it's such an awesome category, and I know down there is a really good place to have your pro debut or to compete in general because it's so much fun. The expo is so fun. Yeah.
Very cool.
What are we diving into this week?
Well, one of our viewers actually had a question, and our very first podcast got cut off a little bit, but she wanted us to go in. We had mentioned a lot of teams tend to pose alike, and that is something we see. So she wanted us to cover that a little more. I remember back in the day when I first got into bikini coaching, every girl did this before they turned, and that was a bombshell move. And I literally was calling that the bombshell move, and you still see them do it today. But, a lot of people who thought it was political thought that was a sign to the judges. But the thing is, I don't know, Bombshell probably had 400, 500 clients back then. So they're out of 500 girls, you're going to flip quite a few pro cards, and
yeah.
A lot of those girls did have that bombshell move. And to me, that's more transitional move versus actual posing. But that's a good example. Everyone on that team did that back then.
Right. Well, and it did. It carried on to the rest of the division. It became almost like a flirtatious action to exude confidence and a little bit of sass, or whatever it may be. But yeah, I definitely remember that. And actually, as soon as I was getting into the division as an amateur, the judges started saying, stop adding that little giddy flair. We just want to see your personality. We don't need any nervous tics or anything like that, because it started to look like it was almost like a nervous tic rather than something like a flair or or a flirty move or confidence move. So but yeah, you find a lot of girls just kind of repeating that. And sometimes it's not just the one time in the routine. It's like a couple times, you know?
Yeah.
So do you think it's distracting?
I do. I think if you have too much movement, it really can be distracting. And just like having too much jewelry, I'm really hard on my girls about that, because I'll see girls that come out with like bracelets like this big and what I like to call our dress rehearsal. And I'm like, oh no, honey, that's not going to work.
But no, it's true, because I mean, because you and I, we joke all the time, we talk all the time, but we always mean well, always.
Yep.
And our opinion is just purely our personal opinion. But like, there's a point where it can get to where you're kind of like morphing into like almost like a drag queen type of vibe, when you're really when you're dragging on the jewelry and the heavy makeup and things like that. When you're a bikini competitor, you do want to embrace your personality and put that out there, but you don't want to be distracting to the point where people are asking like, who did her makeup? Who told her to wear those bracelets? You know what I mean? You don't ever want that to fall back on you either, you know? So, and actually when I told a makeup artist to do my makeup for one of my shows, I said, can we go in between wedding and drag queen? I said, can we do that? And that was like the perfect mixture.
Absolutely. And I think with posing, it's gone through this evolution, and right at the turnover of your pro career, you went from what I like to call the drop hip front pose immediately to that side stance within your first pro season.
Yeah.
That was a big switch up for you. And
I do know that like there's a lot of girls that will not even do that pose anymore. They're against it because they think it's completely out. They think it doesn't benefit them. That's not the case.
And it's interesting. I've seen really good posing coaches, and like I think of you being a great posing coach. To name one, Kenny Wallach is great. I think Maria Robles does a really good job. And I think Ashley Janelle and Jesse Schleifer do really good posing work as well. Lauren Dannenmeyer, she's posed some of my girls and done a great job as well. But yeah, I think all of those coaches have a different approach to each client. And I always have reasons for sending my clients to those different posing coaches. I feel like Ashley has a very aggressive posing routine that she just can really implement some really good sass into. And if I think that's going to work for somebody, Ashley's kind of the first person I send that with.
Right. So like say like a client that just needs a little bit more flair and a little bit more confidence and a little bit more sass, or has or needs a little bit more edge to their routine, you send right to Ashley.
Yep. And I would say you're just one step below having that much flair, because you've got some good flair on stage too. And I always like that about you.
So. Yeah, I am. I think I've gotten the compliment of being just confident and then having that athleticism still up there.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I've been told. So I do know that when I pose my girls, it's usually like if I don't think I can pose them to the best of my ability because of their personalities, and that's like the responsibility of posing coach. You can pose your clients, but then if you do recommend them visiting somebody else, that's your job. You want to make sure that they're the best on show day. But for me, if my girls if they have a really feminine look about them, super beautiful, they have like this, they just have this really elegant vibe to them. Sometimes it takes taking that almost pageant-y vibe and bringing it back down to just adding a little bit athleticism. And that's like my forte, I think.
Mm-hmm. It is. Because even when we worked together, you did all of your posing by yourself. Yeah. And I feel like you studied it and you practiced it and every day. And
I watched a lot of Olympias. Yashara Robles.
Okay.
It was like she would always walk out on stage. She'd hit that pose, really like confident, very solid, very athletic, but she had that beautiful just like vibe about her. It just radiated in the room. That was like my most favorite thing. And it was very solid. Everything was very like, it wasn't rigid, it flowed, but it was like this pose, this pose, this pose, this pose. So I think that's where I got my vibe from.
That's cool. I think one important thing is having those transitional elements. The hardest part about bikini is you have the front and back pose, and we all know how we're theoretically supposed to hit those, but it's the transitional moves. And sometimes I see girls with the hair flip, they're so focused on doing that. They're up here and they're like, where's my hair? And then they try flip it. It just takes too long unless you can like almost make it look natural. I've had some of my girls who I was like, I really like that hair flip you did. And they're like, what are you talking about? They don't even know they did it. And in other girls who will get in their back pose and they take the time to flip their hair, but then they also bring their glutes forward. They're standing.
They drop their glutes.
They drop their glutes. I'm like, man, you just made your physique look bad trying to flip your hair.
Yep, it's not even worth it at that point.
No, so you just really have to experiment and find what works for you.
Right. So what we can do is we can break it down from like the beginning, say, because you always walk out on stage and you do a front pose. Some girls, you know, if they have, if you pick, you know, obviously besides the back pose, and I've actually even seen the back pose done. I've come right out, did the back pose, and then turned around. India Paulino's done it. So it can be done, and it can be done well, but 99% of the time you're going to have a girl that comes out and it's front pose, right to the box, hit that front pose. So, but there is a certain amount of times where like the S pose will actually enhance that body more than any pose in your routine. So when you get out there to grab the judge's attention, sometimes it is about just getting into that S pose and, you know, telling them that you're there, you're ready to be judged. Let's do this, you know? So some girls will come out, hit the S pose, and then they'll come up and they'll open up and they'll do their X front pose, or they'll do the side stance front pose, whatever works on them, or they'll do both.
Yep.
So, but more often than not, we do see the X front pose, which is my go-to. That's my favorite one. And then the side front pose. So, but there is a case where one does not look good on an athlete, or one doesn't highlight as much as the other.
Absolutely. You see it a lot where you can almost tell what team girls are from sometimes with just how they pose. And it definitely sometimes isn't posing that works for them. And I think sometimes girls just get caught up with like, you know, being loyal. I think loyalty is great, obviously, but don't be afraid to ask your coach, can we try something different? Or do you mind if I try another posing coach, but I still want to use you for, you know, my training, nutrition, etc. Right. Just get that second opinion. I think that's, you know, it's hard because I have a lot of girls who have switched posing coaches mid-prep. And to me, that's tough because I empathize to the coach who lost that client. But it seems like the turnover in posing is so much greater than it is just coaching. Because I would say coaching turnover can be pretty pronounced as well. But I feel like especially in posing coaching, I think the turnover rate's just like astronomical. And part of that is it's really hard to find your fit with that.
It is. And two, I think some girls are searching for a different vibe than they have, or they're just trying to enhance what they have. So that might be two different people. And then also as your physique changes, sometimes you do need to change up your posing a little bit too. Mm-hmm. You know, because I've seen some girls have that more like square boxy look, and their posing is a little bit aggressive. So they're not only are they bringing that athletic physique, and maybe they're wearing like a blue suit, and they're also, you know, posing, you know, a little bit aggressively or a little bit more athletically. You kind of need to bring that back a notch, just a little bit, and add a little bit more comfortability to the posing and a little bit more elegance to the posing. So you, like, you know, as a coach, if I feel like that's something that they're going to learn better from someone else, I will tell them, hey, why don't you go see, you know, Ashley Janelle or, you know, Jessie Schaefer.
Yeah.
And I think that's all part of being a good coach though too. You have to recognize what's going to be better for your client. I know you do that all the time. Like you can pose them to a certain extent, but then when you find what they're missing, or you see that they need a certain vibe, send them out to the world.
Yep. especially once they get on the national level, I'll focus more. I almost tier my coaches, so to speak. So I'll have people that on the team who help the actual beginners. And then, you know, once someone's getting to that national level, that's where, you know, it's going to somebody like you or, you know, Maria or Kenny even.
Right. And that's a really good idea, because the mindset the entire time is, I want to win this. You know, you dress for you dress for the job you want, not the job you have. For the most part, I'm great dressing in sports bras and yoga pants all day.
Yeah.
But I mean, it took a little bit to get here. So, you dress for the job you want, not the job you have. So tiering it like that, I think, is actually a very smart idea, because it can help you level up. It can help you gauge your success. It can help you gauge how much work you need. And also, you also can build relationships inside of the industry that way too.
Absolutely.
And sometimes you do just want a friend. You want somebody you can count on. You want somebody that you are on the same level with too. You don't always want somebody that is a level above you, but you want to put yourself in that position too. It's kind of like it's kind of like a meet halfway type of thing. Because for me, I always threw myself to the wolves in every situation. So, but not everyone's like me.
And the last thing I want to do is send someone brand new to like you or Kenny and say, you know, all right, so how do I stand? Do I actually wear heels to do this? You know,
right.
So that would not be good, because
you want them to be comfortable with the person that they're posing with.
Absolutely.
That's the biggest thing.
Really intimidating, and probably Kenny would be like, hey, I love having your clients, but if you could teach them to pose just a little bit before they come see me, that would be great.
Right. Just a little bit of hip movement.
Right. Yeah.
But I think that so what's the biggest thing that you see kind of holding girls back from doing the original the drop hip front pose? What's the biggest thing that you think is holding some of the girls back?
I think that it's not popular. And I think everyone's afraid to be different. But remember, somebody was different to do that other pose beforehand.
Right.
And,
right.
you know, there's almost no wrong way, especially in bikini. There's so much diversity in posing. With men's physique, now they're really being strict about keeping both feet on the line. They're hardly letting guys twist anymore, which I found interesting that that's not really happening in bikini. I'm not sure if that's more a Steve issue versus like a Sandy difference, because it's just like, hey guys, put your feet on the line like right now.
I think like it's more of like, because bikini is so subjective, they have to give us like something to work with. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I think maybe that's the case too. But I think the biggest thing holding girls back from that X front pose is the physique. If you don't have the nice lean long legs, it's probably not, like if you're quad dominant and you hit that front pose and your leg dices up in the front,
Boom.
You know, it's like, or if you know, because for me, I always really loved that pose because I have, like, if I'm just standing there, I have no shape. Mm-hmm. So for me to be able to drop that hip, pop that glute just a little bit and elongate my legs, you know, and be able to get my chest up and stand tall, drop my shoulders back, you know, it's like a power stance for me.
Mm-hmm.
So when I go out there, I really feel like I look good in it because I do have that slender body that I can just twist my body any way I want, and that pose can look good. I was also born somehow with this tiny, tiny waist too. So, but, and then, I mean, I also adopted that new second front pose. But I think I use that in line of attack in special occasions. like when everybody else is doing it, I'll do it too. Just, you know, just to say like, wait, I want to look better in this one, you know?
I feel like we just got a war secret right there from Casey. Everyone should take notes.
Hey, I hope that people do learn from this.
I do too. And that's what's great about this is providing value for people. I do think that pose basically does make people look leaner. So if you're worried about softness, maybe that's a great pose to transition to, because you'll
Right.
look hard as nails. You know, me and Brittany Brinkman, how you found me, use that pose all the time. And man,
She was very slender too.
yeah, it worked so well for her.
Yeah, I think it's the idea that you can knock that hip down, get that roundness right where you need it, elongate the legs, get them nice and lean. You could even flex the quad if your quads aren't big, tighten that leg up. And then when you get your chest up, you can elongate those abs. You know what I mean? So I definitely think it's a good pose. Like if you're just looking for that little bit of, you know, a little bit of edge and definition to your muscles, you can get it in that pose.
Yeah.
Versus the other one where it's pretty much relaxed.
Yep, basically.
Yeah, you almost just turn sideways, you know, and just try to get that X shape, and that's it right there. Popping that hip back a little bit. But I think honestly, if you're looking for a power move, that front X pose is going to be the go-to. That's what it is for me. But a lot of girls, they can't do that, like I said, because of the way that their body is shaped after they build it up a little bit.
Well, I did do a posing clinic in Columbus and Nashville.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, let's do it. People will come. Everybody come.
Yes, I think people would love that.
I'll get in shape.
I feel like we covered that really thoroughly.
Yeah, I do too.
Without
and actually, there's one more thing I do want to say though too. When I got to the pro leagues, I realized how much it meant that you have to stand out with your posing, especially because everyone shows up ready.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody looks good. So you have to bring something in your posing that just stands out that the judges aren't going to forget.
Right.
So you have like your mandatory poses, but then you've got, you know, you have to add your personality to it, and you have to add a little bit of flair, but it's got to be you, you know.
Absolutely. I think that's one thing people don't understand with pros is you guys sign a contract to show up at these shows, because this brings in fans and people who want to see you guys. And people most definitely show up ready. You do see on a very small occasion, sometimes people do show up, you know, we'll say 5 to 10% off. But I think, you know, that's sad when that happens, but people have to understand like why that happens. It's basically you kind of get fined if you don't go. So it's kind of a total different ball game for people like Casey. And, you know, when you guys sign up for a show, like you're pretty well committed. It's a lot different than if you're 4 weeks out from an NPC show and you just say, you know, I'm just going to forfeit my entry. You know, even if you have 100 million Instagram followers, then NPC doesn't care if you don't show up.
Right.
But
Exactly.
if you're pro, it's a different ball game, and that includes morning and night show. So even if you don't get the placement you want, you still need to show up, and that should even stand in the amateurs as well. So
yeah, I have never understood people that want to be successful and be living and thriving in this industry with integrity, why you would show up to prejudging and you didn't do as well as you want, so you don't show up to finals. For me, that, like, I've actually had clients do that, and I couldn't keep it. I couldn't put it in my heart to keep them, because to me, the NPC has made me who I am. So to me, that's a disservice. It's not okay.
I've had people who have not wanted to show up, and I said, take this as an opportunity to watch and learn. And I said, I know that's really humbling to you, but I said, especially in bikini, like, definitely watch and learn. Just sit in the audience, watch every other class, make sure you go out for yours and just watch and learn. And I said, you're just starving yourself of an opportunity to grow if you don't go back.
Right. Exactly. Because I mean, one day they are going to win and they're going to want to show up, but it's going to take that little bit growth period to get there. You know,
think all the cool people you've met from staying for the whole thing.
Absolutely. Yeah, no. And also I think that, I mean, arriving to show day period is already, like a success. So, if you're going to arrive, at least stay the whole time.
Absolutely.
I've been to shows where there's just like 20 buttons sitting on a table backstage of the people that didn't arrive.
Right.
So, but then you wonder how many of them didn't arrive for what reason. You know, you wonder if they didn't arrive, say, you know, because they're sick or because of a personal reason, or, you know, because we wanted to talk about at what point do we say that we're not going to be ready for this show?
Absolutely.
Or we're not going to, you know, for me, it's whether, this might be rigid, but for me, it's like, even if I'm not going to be 100% ready, am I competitive or not? So, because the goal is to win, you want to go into a show, you want to win, but have you beat your last version of yourself? Yes? Okay. Do you feel good? Yes? Okay. You know, are you like, can you physically do this? Yes? Okay. Then you go, you take in the experience, like, and you never know who's going to show up.
Mm-hmm.
So you just show up.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So, but then there's other personal reasons where people don't show up. But physically, like what's an occasion that you've seen that clients will not be able to do the show that they thought they were going to do, or they even moved their show date back, right? Because maybe they just weren't going to be ready. They weren't focused, or what was like?
Yeah, I would say, you know, maybe not being lean enough was one of the big things. And this is great because this kind of leads us into our next topic, which is maybe when to pull out a prep or maybe when to push the date back. But there's certain shows that I'm just like, absolutely not, you know, and those shows might be the Arnold Classic. You know, that's a kickstart show for the year.
Yeah.
Or, you know,
That's
any national show. And like, I would say there's just certain amateur shows, like I wouldn't send somebody into not ready, like Pittsburgh Pro. Like
right.
You're going to be in front of national judges. And I think I have a very diverse range of clients. I mean, I've had people who have came from 200-pound weight losses make it to the state.
Right.
They weren't on the national level, but we found really good NPC shows to put them in. So, and then the hope is that they do make it to the Arnold stage one day. So,
right.
You know,
that's the thing too. But you're smart like that, because if they aren't ready for a show and it's their very first show and they have all these expectations and they don't do as well, that might be their last show, and you don't want it to be like that.
Absolutely.
You want to help them carry their dreams out. The
whole thing with us as coaching is providing our customers with experience, and a bad show day can swing every good amount of communication we've had. I mean, I've seen it happen. So I had a girl quit because she didn't get nationally qualified, and it was her first season.
I mean, we talked about it before. We've had clients get first place in overalls and then be livid for some reason. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
There's nothing you can do there. That's a personal problem.
Mm-hmm. And it's tough. And then, you know, to me, I was thinking about this today. In instances like that, even though it is a personal problem, I feel like I've failed as a coach because I failed to understand that person as a person.
We blame ourselves right away.
Yeah. I have lost so many clients over the years. Like, I'm not even going to lie. And you would think it's the first time I've lost a client. Why I lose one? My poor wife. You know, like I really hate losing people. So
yeah. No, and I think honestly, we talked about this last time. That was kind of like what makes us who we are, though. You know what I mean? We do form bonds and connect with our clients. So no matter how many there is.
Yeah.
So, and even if they don't want to.
Yes.
Get in there.
And you know, when has there been times where you felt it was necessary to pull a client? I know you've done a lot of rescue missions with clients where they're really close to stage time, and you know, you see some pretty desperate macros and cardio protocols to get somebody ready. And I think that's a big reason to pull somebody is if you know, sometimes people are hitting such low macros, you wonder if they're even possibly hitting those. And you wonder, do we need to put the training wheels back on the bike and start all over? And I think a lot of times that's the case. And
Yeah. And
I
it's
think,
just like opening the book again. That's all it is. You know what I mean? And sometimes it stinks like taking that step back, but it changes the athlete 100%. You know, it can turn a career that seemed so far away into something that just is right at your fingertips. You know what I mean? And then full blown, you know?
yeah.
So, a really good example. And I kind of bring this up every once in a while. One of my clients was prepping for a show before. She had to pull out a couple days beforehand because she just wasn't feeling well. She didn't feel right. She didn't feel like she looked very ready, didn't feel ready. So she just wasn't set up for success. And then, so she did the show that she did with me was her very first bikini show. It was a couple weeks ago. I want to say like maybe 2 months ago. And she won every single bikini title that she could win in that show. She won 7 awards, 7 first place, and then overall awards.
Wow.
And yeah, and it's so neat to know that she got her comeback.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then some.
That's so
So
cool.
not only did she arrive, but she arrived ready, she arrived confident, and then she swept the whole entire thing. That's the kind of stuff we live for.
I have a girl who was supposed to do Pit Pro this year, and we're now doing June 29th, and she's, 4 weeks out looking better than she's ever looked. So hopefully the story ends something like that. And I'm sure I could think of multiple other shows that I've pulled people out of. A good example, I had a girl win an overall before a show the following weekend that she already signed up for.
That's
I told
crazy.
her not to do it.
Yeah.
I said, you know what? You won. And I said, I just don't think you should go into this one. I said, go into nationals with your fire lit and, go in with the win,
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing too, like when Stefani came to me from like that previous experience with another coach, you regardless of where they have been, you literally immediately just see the potential in them immediately.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? If they reach out to you, they're reaching out to you for a reason because they want better guidance or they think that they deserve better, which is amazing.
Yeah.
So, and because you said your client had signed up for a show prior to the one you guys had planned.
Yep.
And then swept the whole thing.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That was like her like fighting for like everything that she believed in, everything that she did with you. That's really cool. Like she had that much confidence to just say, I'm going to do this one.
It was the best day of her life. It was so cool.
Yeah,
and it was for me. So
yeah. It's like a gift. That's awesome. Well, I'm telling you, when you're on point and you're ready and you're healthy and you feel good, you're confident, you're set up for success, like that stuff is possible all the time.
Yeah. And she was a mom, so a lot of this was like, hey, I'd like to get my feet wet because it's here in my backyard. I can be with my kids. So I'm like, sure, go ahead and do it. Let's see what happens. And then I got that, like, hey, let's add some water before you go on stage. Let's go in for battle. I didn't even know she had won her class, and then I see like overall in all caps. So I'm like, oh my God, this is
comes trotting out with trophies.
Yeah.
That's
Fun
awesome.
time. And there's many times I've failed and clients not get overalls. So like anyone watching this, I know me as a coach, like you're one of the very few coaches I follow because I'll really play the comparison game. So like for me, I really try to make it about my own journey. If I watch too many other coaches, I get like too hyper focused on like what everyone else is doing, All of our clients kind of start from different genetic pathways. And I know so many of my clients who are just now starting coaching. So they're watching this, believe me, I did not win overalls right out the gates. It's my first time as a coach. It took a lot of time.
Yeah. Yeah. And you have to be easy with yourself, but you've also got to make sure that you're staying educated too. Things are changing all the time. Nothing is stagnant.
we always wonder what's going to be next, what's going to be the big thing that you absolutely have to do as a coach. And
Right.
I'll be the first to admit, I did meal plans my first couple years as coaching. And then around 2010, 11 was where we switched into macros. But I actually had decline in clients when I switched to macros. Nobody wanted to do macros. I had to kind of trick people into doing it. So I would give them a meal plan, and their refeed was like a flexible dieting day. And then people would eventually ask me, can I do this flexible dieting day all week? I'm like, you absolutely can. And here's how. So I would kind of trick people into doing it. And then it became kind of what made people attracted to working with me, which now most people are a macro coach for the most part. There's a few that aren't. And
you were the only one that I knew of when I started, the only one.
It's funny because I feel like I knew a circle of a lot of coaches who were macro coaches back then. But I feel like we were in a small circle, like I knew Paul Revelia before people knew who Paul Revelia was. Like he was in my circle, and now Paul's like this big thing. I'm like, I know Paul. Like I've known Paul for years.
Oh, Paul. Yeah, Paul.
But Paul's great, and I think what I like about Paul is he's like, I'd say me and Paul are both like kind of introverted, but when we get with people, we really like being with people. So
yeah, I have to agree.
So
I literally just met Paul at the Arnold's for the first time, and it was like I had met him like 1,000 times. Like he's really, really cool.
Yeah, he is really very cool. And then Cliff Wilson was another one who I always knew had done macro dieting, and John Gorman. Not a lot of people know about. I think more people are knowing about these coaches now, but back then, I feel like we were kind of hanging in more of the natural bodybuilding circles, and then Team Science kind of started taking over, So.
Yeah. No, I know, but I know that you've definitely made an impact on me and my coaching abilities when it comes to flexible dieting. So for me, it always just seemed a little bit more, like, I guess sustainable is the word. I think mentally sustainable is probably probably where I'm at with that, because if I was to go have a burger or make a burger here at home, I could make it fit my macros easily, still have a couple meals on the outside and not feel guilty about it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's the whole thing behind the flexible dieting. You want to eat for your goals. You want to eat for energy and eat for, nutrients and things like that. But if you want a Hershey Kiss, you can toss a Hershey Kiss in there to get it out of your system. You know what I mean? And it's not going to bother you.
Yeah. Chocolate and wine mixes really well, right?
Yeah, it absolutely does. Absolutely. Yeah, Oscar came home. I was hoping he was going to come say hi.
He was looked like the microwave earlier for a minute.
maybe eating food already. Mine's getting cold. Here, I'm going to let Bug out quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Scratching at the door. Like a maniac.
That's so funny. So you let your cats out. Now I have to ask. I can't not go on without asking this question. So you just let your cat like outside or in the bedroom?
Oh God, no. Woo, no.
Okay.
No.
I was like, I didn't think cats like went outside.
No, they don't even wear collars. If I open the door to let them run, Bug will run out for a second and then sprint back in if she hears any sort of noise.
That's so funny.
It's actually a little chicken. She's 17 pounds of chicken.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she's big. She's like as big as one of your dogs.
That's awesome. I like big cats like that.
Me too, because so you know that theory, like not theory, it's proven because I've done it 1,000 times. So when you have that, when you have like pressure, it suppresses your nervous system and helps you relax when you have pressure.
Yeah.
So she's like, when she falls asleep on me, I'm out.
Oh, that's funny.
Out for the count.
I know parents who have had babies who say there's nothing better than sleeping with a baby on your chest, which I'm not sure how safe that is for the baby. I'm no baby expert, but
Yeah.
by any means.
It's got to be pretty close to a 17-pound cat, though.
That's awesome. So, Rasta has always been my dog that has kind of, we have two dogs, and,
Yeah.
Igor is just as much my dog also, but he always seems to, enjoy when I lay down. He's on my chest as well, which is kind of funny. So.
Yep. No, do your dogs sleep with you?
They do. They're
That's awesome.
absolutely the best. I forgot to.
Does that mean we're done?
Silence. No, actually, that was just that was probably a morning alarm that I accidentally set to call somebody tomorrow. Funny enough,
I
I
was gonna
accidentally
say,
set.
because you get up at like 4:30, not 8:45.
I do get up at 4:30. I guess that's a good question. Do you do any in-person training at all, or maybe a little bit with some local clients here and there?
Here and there.
Because I know you and Daly probably worked out together on occasion.
Yeah, she's actually doing some really cool stuff right now. You'll have to send her a message and connect with her and see what's going on. Hi, Daly. I'm sure she watches these. I think she does.
I think she does. She DM'd me and said she was pretty excited about this.
Oh yeah,
so
that's right. But yeah, I did train Daly, Raina, Haley, like we all kind of just train together.
Very cool.
More like on a friendship basis. It's cool. I love having that relationship.
That's awesome. I don't have a lot of guys that I get to do that with. And I feel like with my girls, I usually just kind of train them. But on occasion, I do have guys who come and we bro it out and have a lift together. So that's kind of fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and you get to kind of, do you like to talk when you train or no?
When I'm with people, yes. And,
right.
when I'm by myself, it's really weird. I have two different Adams almost that exist when I train. So I have the very talkative, friendly Adam, just like I am now when I'm with people. And I think people would not know me if they saw me train by myself in my own gym with, I'll actually usually listen to heavy metal, which I never listen to. Just because I think it's so different from my everyday. And
right.
Yeah, I kind of turned into a meathead, and it's great because no one's watching.
I don't even believe you.
I know, right? You have to set up secret cameras one day. So, but what's funny is to add on to that, training with my wife is the worst because I have this very uncomfortable spot I like to hit when I train of pushing myself. And when you love somebody, there's just this comfort level that I find that is so unparalleled to the discomfort level of training. And I feel like I have this hard set and I see this person I love and I'm like, love and hate. And I'm like, here's pain and pleasure over here. And after about 4 or 5 sets, I'm like, do you just want to go out and grab dinner or something? I lose my focus completely when I train with my wife. I know so many couples that train together, but it does not work for me. I always worry, are the faces I'm making okay? Because I don't want her to not be attracted to me. So.
Oh my God, I'm sure that's not it.
It's just different.
Maybe it's because maybe because it's work, it's your relationship and then it's work related too, you know what I mean? So you've got both worlds kind of colliding there.
Yeah.
A lot of emotion.
Yeah. And it's weird because it's something that we both like to do. I feel like it's very difficult for us to do together.
Yeah. Well, see, you're not the only one. Oscar and I can train together, but I feel like I get a much better workout by myself because I'm not so focused on, trying to make myself look good, if that's what not physically presentable, and I can make the funny face and stuff, I don't care, but I think I want to push myself to the point where I actually have never been, so then it's do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So I have another client who I discussed this with. She just got engaged, and she was really excited because he's taking his fitness to another level. And she said for her, it's more, she wants to make sure he's okay because he's kind of new to the gym, that it takes over her workout, that she's making sure that he's doing okay. And
right.
my
Like
wife's
spotting and stuff like that.
an independent woman. Like that's kind of why I think I fell in love with her, because like she doesn't need me, so I need to find this purpose, like of like proving myself for her to need me somehow, some
Yeah.
way. And yeah, she doesn't need me at all. She knows exactly what to do. So I always joke with people, I've been married for 10 years, almost 11, and I'm still chasing my wife. And sometimes I wonder if she did say yes when we were on the altar together.
Yeah. Well, I think that's how it's supposed to be. You're never supposed to be 100% comfortable. Then it would be no fun.
Yeah, it's a good balance. I
Yeah.
think the girls I dated in college, and I let some girls go who were just super nice, but they were just like too nice, where it's like I just want a little resistance out of you, or just
Well,
just
work for it.
disagree with me once.
Oh my gosh. I disagree with Oscar basically all the time.
That's awesome.
He's got it made. He's got it made.
That is awesome.
Yeah, no, and I mean, for me, I think people see me as like very super independent, and I've actually heard like people tell me that I'm intimidating, but I feel like I'm the opposite of that.
I think maybe initially, yes. And now you have the status of being such a great competitor and coach, that I think that can be intimidating to people. And that was part of why I started my YouTube this year, is because a few girls had said, I wanted to reach out to you, but I'd never seen or like heard you speak, or they just said, all I knew is you as see you later leaner, and they just were intimidated by that. And which is funny to me, because once you meet me, I'm the least intimidating person you could know.
Well, I mean, I love Kimoto, but I have a client text me and she goes, "Hey, that Kim guy's here." I said, "Go say hi to him. He doesn't bite."
Yeah.
She goes, "Are you sure? Like he's not busy? Like he'll talk to me?" I said, "Absolutely, he'll talk to you." I said,
Absolutely.
"Go talk to him. Go say hello. Tell him I said hi."
While we're on this podcast, somebody who's very much seems intimidating and isn't is Shane Hewley. Is very he seems intimidating. You get to know him, and he's great. So
I want to say this. Okay, so my very first instance of meeting Shane, I met him at Junior USA's in Charleston a couple weeks ago. He sat next to me. We were like 2 rows back from the stage. His girls went on stage, and he was recording them and things. And I was like, "Oh, awesome! Good coach. Like he's up here really supporting his girls, and he's getting all the footage for them because maybe they don't have people here, whatever, and stuff for social media, things like that." But I leaned over and I said, "Congratulations, that's awesome!" Because all his girls got first call-outs, and he was just so giddy. It was like I wasn't expecting that at all. I was expecting like, "Thank you very much." He was just like, "Oh my god, I know! Oh my gosh, I'm so excited!" Da, da, da. And it was the coolest thing because you really don't realize until you introduce yourself. It's crazy.
And he's probably one of the coaches I bumped into the most, and maybe been the longest time span before I'd actually gotten the courage to talk to him. Because Shane was really around in the natural circuits for a long time. Like, I think the first time I saw Shane was like 2011 at a natural show, and I didn't even know. But then, like, after a lot of times, I'm like, oh wow, I saw this guy all the way back then. So
yeah.
And then
it was a pleasure to meet him. I like sat back down in my seat and I was like kind of giddy.
Yeah, him and his wife are super nice people.
Yeah, that's awesome. Don't you love seeing that in the industry? We need more Shanes and Adams and Caseys. And
you do love seeing people that are nice and humble about what they do,
Yeah.
And it is a competitive sport, but I do think that there's no reason, if things are done well, that we all can't love each other at the end, Because at the end of the
Exactly.
day, we all are feeding our families. And, you know, I've obviously had people who have came to me where I disagree with their protocols, but I'm not going to throw somebody under the bus because I think that they deserve that, or, you know, they're just doing what they thought was right for that client at that time, you know?
Yeah, exactly. No, I mean too, that goes along with the lines of like we're getting a client from, another coach. Sometimes it is just they weren't set up for success, and then sometimes it was that they just the client and coach just didn't have a connection, or you know what I mean. I think that's why you and I, we sprawl out in every direction. Like we want to form a connection, we want to make sure they're healthy, we want to give them options, we want to, I think, and supporting them too, not just sending macros and saying good luck.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's really important to have like that just well-rounded coaching, those habits.
You
I
know,
think that's what makes a good client too, a happy
there's
client.
been times I've lost clients to other coaches, and it's a very humbling experience. But I have actually messaged the coach and said, "Hey, you know, I know you're working with so and so. I'm not mad, but do you think there's anything I could have done better?" And just get their insight. And you know, I think that really helps dissolve a sticky situation with you know, just you maybe being mad, or just you know, and sometimes it's just the connection, you know, having that coach client connection is very important. And
Yeah.
sometimes someone's social media just is the bomb to somebody, and they're like, this coach is everything that I want, you know. And
Yeah. Yep. No, and two, like I just think as for me, I've always been supportive of people around me, and obviously supporting myself because I compete. You got to. It's a little bit selfish. So I'm familiar with making sure that people feel support and they feel loved and they feel encouraged. But to make it genuine is like the ticket. You know what I mean? Like you either it's in you or it's not. So like from you, I always felt since day one that you wanted me to succeed and you wanted me to be successful, and even if that meant being Miss Bikini Olympia or just making it to the bleachers that afternoon when I said I couldn't. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like you always like bestowed that support and guidance and those lights into me as an athlete, and not only as an athlete but person.
and I
That's that's
know
the, that's the biggest thing, honestly, and I think that good.
your girls love you to death. It's just so obvious online. I love seeing them post about you. So
Yeah, well, and you too. You too. It's all the time, and I think honestly that is a reflection. That's a reflection of our work and our humanity and our integrity and sincereness, and that it is. It's a big reflection. It's very rewarding to coach the people that we do.
cheers to that.
Yeah, right. Boom.
Boom.
But I think we nailed it again.
I think we did. Well, we will let everyone go today. And thank you guys all so much for joining us. And we will be back again next week, won't we?
Yep. Yepper. The week's gonna fly again. I'm ready though.
It is. Well, we will
Let's do
see you
it.
guys on the next episode, and we will be here with Casey again next week.
Thank you. Bye.
We'll see you guys.